Petrucciani.
Petrucciani.
Petrucciani. Petrucciani.
Michel Petrucciani.
Michel Petrucciani was born in 1962 with a condition called osteogenesis imperfecta, and it meant that he had really brittle bones. They would break super easily. And he was also very short, but despite it, he managed to be one of the greatest jazz piano players of all time and wrote over 40 albums of music in the 36 years that he lived, which is a lot of music. So Michel Petrucciani was born into a musical family. Like, his dad played guitar and he had two brothers that played bass and guitar as well. And by the time he was 4, he was learning classical piano. But what's crazy is that because he had this condition that caused him to have bones that would break super easily, he would break his bones when he was playing piano sometimes, which is nuts. Like, who does that? Who would continue playing piano if your bones are breaking when you're playing, you know? But he kept playing, and by the time he was 13, he was doing professional concerts, which is crazy. Like, that's crazy. So by the time he was 16, he was playing with the jazz trumpeter Clark Terry, and when he was 20, he was touring with the saxophonist Charles Lloyd, who he brought out of retirement because he was so good at playing. Charles Lloyd decided to come out of retirement and tour with him, which just goes to show how good he was. And in 1984, he moved to New York when he was 22, and that's where he stayed for the rest of his life and played with absolute heavy jazz musicians, like the jazz giants that we all know today. People like Wayne Shorter, Jim Hall, Anthony Jackson, Steve Gadd, Niels Henning Ørsted Peterson, Marcus Miller, Kenny Garrett, and so many more absolute heavies. So he was up there with the big dogs. And not only was he good with music, but he was pretty good with the ladies as well, because for a meter-tall man, he had 5 girlfriends and got married twice and had a son. So to all the short kings out there, boys, we can't be complaining. The thing that was really cool about Michel Petrucciani was that he did so many solo piano albums. Like, he played so much solo piano. In fact, that was the first thing that I ever heard him play. I was on YouTube just browsing, as you do, and I came across a video of him playing around midnight, and it blew me away. It was incredible. Everything that he did was just like absolute perfection. It was insane. It was like, imagine if Bill Evans, Oscar Peterson, and Keith Jarrett just like mixed themselves together into one person. And that's pretty much what Michel Petrucciani sounded like. But the first video that I ever saw of him that just blew my mind was when he played Estate in the Umbria Jazz Festival in 1993. What? Like, when I first heard that, the repeated dotted 8th notes in his left hand and 16th notes in his right hand, it blew me away because I'd never heard anyone do that before. And then I later found out that that's like a signature thing of his, which sounds so cool. There's another solo of his, the song's called Home. It's a composition of his, and he does the same thing in that solo. So check that out. I'll put a link in the description. But man, when I first heard that, it just blew me away. I was amazed by it, and I still get blown away by it because it's crazy hard to do and sounds so good. And since watching that first video, I've listened to a lot of his songs, and I can safely say that there is not a single solo I've heard of his that hasn't blown me away. Everything that he plays is amazing and crafted fantastically. So go check out his music. Towards the end of Michel's life, he performed so often that he would do more than 100 performances and concerts a year. But unfortunately, it slowly and surely took a toll on his health. And in 1999, on the 6th of January, he passed away from a heart infection. Now, I barely scratched the surface in Michel Petrucciani's life and his music, but if you thought this was interesting, then I encourage you to go and check out some of his other music because you will not be disappointed. He is fantastic. And if you already know who he is and you have some of his tracks that you want to share, then comment below some of your favorite songs of his because I'd be interested in knowing them as well. But I guess that's all for this video. And if you thought it was good, then you're more than welcome to hit the like button and subscribe because that'll help me out, but do what you want. Anyway, I'll see you guys in the next video.